here. So when you've been writing software, or when you've been writing functions or methods or class and you're executing your code, so like Python, I'm in school interface run right now. It's already complete. This is what I did this morning. If I run it, what happened? It's already broken. Students, class method, all staff. Oh, right here, sorry. At class method, just got to get it back to where it was. CLS. There we go. So I just ran that and a bunch of stuff happened. I'm not quite sure specifically, like I might not necessarily know what's actually going on behind the scenes. And I might want to pause my application at a certain point during its execution lifecycle. So with that, there's a couple of tools we can actually install in Python to help us do that. One of those is IPython. Let's go in here. IPython is a set of modules. IPython and IPython module or library. So this is IPython. Just know it has like a bunch of built-in methods that help you perform specific functions. It's really big. There's this one, and there's what is it? IPDB Python. And this is the one we're going to be kind of using today. So IPDB exports functions to access IPython's debugger, which features tab, blah, 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 blah. So the first things we need to do, so how this is going to work is when I execute my code, I'm going to place one of these, a built-in method in one of these libraries at some point within the code base where I want it to stop executing, and I want to investigate something in my code. So, for example, when I run this, I don't necessarily know if person is ever getting called. Perhaps I just don't know. Like I see person being passed here, but I don't see like a super know if person's actually being called. So the idea is that be able to put something here to stop the program from executing. Essentially it pauses the program. So it's executing, and then once it hits some sort of method that I place here, it's going to pause the execution of the program, and I'm able to inspect it. So with that, we have this Python, there's pip, this IPDB, and this works by you're able to call like this specific method, set trace, and it'll pause your application wherever this is called. So what I'm going to do is pip install IPDB, and I've already installed it, so it should be.
I got my Falcon's chair, and I checked if anything was on it. It was something.
Thank you, Eric. So I already installed that, and I'm also going to install IPython. How to install IPython. And here's that. So I'm going to install both of these on my machine. They're good libraries to have already, so if you install them, if you already have them installed, that's great. So with that, how IPython, or this IPDB, IPython, I don't even know what that stands for, but how it works is I need to import it in whatever class I want to actually use this library. So I'm going to do it in the person class. And then I can call this ipdb.set trace and invoke it, because this is where I want to call it. I can place this anywhere in my application, but right now I just want to see if it hits this, and I want it to stop right here. And when it stops right here, I'm going to be able to investigate and look at the actual values of variables throughout the application. So when it comes here, when I execute my code or the application by running I'm running the runner file. So I'm going to run the runner file, and it should just run my application as expected. And if it actually hits here, then the application should pause. So I can actually run the runner application, and it paused it right now. And now I'm in this like bash or this Python terminal where it says users. It gives me the link to the directory that I'm currently in, person.py. And then it says right here, this is where I actually invoked it. And it says self.name, self.age. Cool. And in here, I can actually like investigate stuff. I can be like name, Culpepper, age, 25, role, principal. I can do password. Cool. So it's like, okay, so I'm typing out the name, age, and role of the password of this specific user. Great. But how do I like, I can do other stuff too. So I can actually see the path of where each part of see the execution flow of all the methods and functions that were called to get me to this point. And I can do that. There's this cheat sheet for IPDB cheat sheet with these commands. So I can say like this help without an argument, print the list of available commands. So I'm going to print H. I'm still inside of this Python terminal, and it gives me all these commands that I can use, but here's a cheat sheet. All the commands are here. So it says print a track state trace with the most recent frame at the bottom, an arrow indicating the current frame, which determines the context of most commands. So this is essentially going to point me with an arrow what methods were called in the stack. So if I print W, so when I first ran the file, it went into school, Richmond High. I invoked an instance of school. It came into the school.py file on line 8. It went into the staff, the self.staff, which called the all staff class method. It jumped into the staff py file, and it jumped into this row. So I think it's line 21. So if I jump into staff, you can't. Line 21, it jumped into here. Oh, where'd it go? Then it came here, created a new staff instance. Then it jumped into staff again because it created a new instance of staff. And in the super is where I initialize my parent class, which is the person class up here. And then it jumped into the person class, and then it stopped right here. So it's a nice, easy way I can investigate the flow of data that's being executed, as well as I'm able to, see specific attributes. And you can move up the current frame. There's a bunch of stuff you can do. I click, what is it, N, next. So I can do name again. Oh, wait, age. So there's just all these other methods that you can use. Does anybody have any questions about this debugger tool IPDB and how to use it? I pretty much just use it to print variable names, just to make sure what I'm getting is actually what I expect, as well as seeing the traceback of the order of execution of the application.
And then to get out of that, just Control C, or is there a specific command?
You can just click exit, like exit, and then it'll say exiting debugger, and then you're back. Let's see if I want to do that again. There we go. We got name. It should be the same. If I do, I want to look at some of these other ones. I do. Next doesn't work. Step. No. Then down. And you can actually go back by pressing the up. You can go back to the very beginning of when that program executed, or down by pressing the down. You can see the actual flow of what's being executed. You can even go, where is it, up? You can even go back. So after I run it, you can keep going back and then see, oh, that's my oldest frame. Yep. So does anybody have any questions about this specific debugger tool? No?